Okay, this is an important Derech, important chapter, dealing with the Ashgaha Hayishit, the personal supervision of Borei Olam, how he handles matters on a personal level. Last week we spoke about the fact that there must be an Ashgaha Klali, there must be divine supervision or providence on a global scale, over the entire world, over all species. He created the world and he wants to preserve it. So he needs to take care of it in such a way that things don't become extinct, things don't go wrong against his will. So there must be an Ashgaha Klali. Now we're going to speak about Ashgaha Prati on an individual level, which exists as well, especially amongst the Jewish people. And before we begin, he gives us here a brief introduction that in order to enable the human being to achieve true Bechira Chofshit, true free will, he has to give him all sorts of opportunities. In other words, the opportunities have to be created, have to be present in order for the man to choose. Because the fact that we have good and bad, there's lots of things that are good and there's lots of things that are bad. For example, he says, Anava, humbleness, is a good characteristic, is a good trait. The opposite of which is cruelty. Gava, arrogance. You have Rahmanut, which is piety, or compassion actually. And the opposite is cruelty. You have those people who are mistapim, and they're happy with what they have. And you have the opposite traits. You know, there's a lot of qualities, a lot of characteristics, a lot of things that can be called good, and a lot of opportunities to do the opposite of them, which is bad. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to put these in place. He has to offer opportunities for people to be able to choose between them. And he gives an example. If you would not have poor and rich, you would not have a situation where a person can be tested to see if he's compassionate or if he will be cruel, hold back and not give money. Right? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving us opportunities in two extremes, to do good and to do bad, so we should be able to choose. So all the opportunities that exist in the world are not there by chance. There are no mikrim. The fact that there is war, there's cruelty, that there is opportunity to do good, to help people, all of these are intended to be so, because that is what allows us to choose between good and bad. That is what allows us to exercise that free will. So in part of the Ashgaha, therefore in this world, is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu presents opportunities. They don't happen by chance. So when something comes your way, the way to look at it is, this is by Ashgaha. This is by divine providence. It's not just by accident. Not luck. And once we understand this concept, even though he doesn't mention it briefly, one is able to determine what his purpose, his personal job is in this world. The Jewish nation, I think we'll be talking about that next week. The difference between the Jewish nation and the rest of the world has a job to perform. But every Jew has a tafkid, has his role to play in this world. And the big question is, how does one determine what his job is, what his role is? Everybody has something unique, specific to him, that nobody else has. We all have something in common as Jews that we need to do to fulfill the Torah. So there's something in particular that we're here for. We don't always know clearly what it is, but there is a way to figure it out. Right? You don't need to learn Kabbalah for that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in this Derech. If you pay close attention to what goes on, if one pays close attention to what goes on in his life, he's able to see things that are happening in his life that are unique, and they are, as I just said, opportunities or nisyonot and challenges that in the end they are telling him what he needs to do, what his tachlit is, what his purpose is exactly in this world. So this example, for example, rich and poor, are two simple nisyonot or tests or challenges that are given, where a rich man is tested to see how he will use his money, if he will be compassionate, and a poor man is being tested if he will be thankful and grateful to Hashem and be happy and content with what he has, or the other way around. These are difficult challenges, but as we will see later on too, a very important rule, very important klal in challenges in Nisyonot, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo ba bitrunya in tidyotav. HaKadosh Baruch Hu never imposes on one a challenge that is more difficult for him to bear. If Hashem gives something to somebody that is difficult, it's a nisayon, it will never be more difficult than what he can bear. He is capable of dealing with it, doing the right thing. Hashem will not break us. He will give us something that may be a nisayon, and it will always be according to our ability. Alright, so he goes on to explain that HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chokmato hagdolah, only He knows why He gave people different types of challenges. Everyone according to his abilities and according to other cheshbonot that only He knows. One of those cheshbonot, it's not the only one, but one of those cheshbonot has to do with gilgul. In other words, when things happen to people, they happen for a variety of reasons. Not too many reasons. One of them is either a previous gilgul, it has something to do with something in the past. It could have something to do with a challenge right now, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to see how this man exercises his free will, whether he will choose good or bad, whether he will be rewarded or not. And there's the third option. There may be additional option. But the third option is that what is happening to him has nothing to do with his previous gilgul, has nothing to do with his personal situation. It has to do because of his father or his children. Even a quick example, I may be skipping around a little bit. Even an example. Let's say Reuven was a millionaire. He had a very, very successful business. And he left his money to the children. So the children became rich by virtue that their father was rich. So their situation is being affected by their father. Right? Not necessarily by their mazal, not necessarily because of the beracha, or because they did a maaseh of a good deed. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to take all of this in consideration. Because what happens when a person is going to be wealthy because of his father? Okay, listen carefully. But he's a very cruel man by nature, and he doesn't deserve the wealth. So on the one hand, Hashem doesn't want to give it to him. On the other hand, the father left it, and it's due to the boy. So only HaKadosh Baruch Hu, only He is able to balance things out. Okay, he's going to stay with his wealth. I'm not going to take it away from him. Because there's a cheshbon with his father. Right? So what am I going to do to take care of this other problem that he has? I'll somehow deal with it. I'll give him a disease, some problem not only money, that he will have to deal with. He will be in pain, and he will have to struggle. Some other problem, but the money will remain with him. So he can't touch his money. In other situations, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take away the money. You don't use it properly, I take it away, give it to somebody else. Right? So there's a situation of kaparat avonot, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu needs to deal with this individual, with a particular maaseh that he did, by atoning for that man's sin. He can take it away, he can take something else away. On the other hand, if there's a cheshbon with the father left it, that needs to be like that for some reason that Hashem knows, then Hashem has to find another way to deal with it. Another way, not exactly, right? Yeah, remember the Torah says that a child does not pay for his father's sins, right? Unless he goes in the same derech as his father. So if you have a rasha ben rasha, if you have a wicked man whose father was also wicked, then the child will also get double portion, right? Because it's in the family. If the father will be good, right? He will not suffer because of his father's sin. Right? Midah tova, the rabbi tells us, is meruba mi midah lo tova. Right? Midah tova means a good, not a good deed, but a good measure. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives a blessing. For many, many generations, we go on and bless it. Whereas something bad, halila, does not last as long. And in this case, if the child is bad, then if his father was bad, then yes. Alright. In the end, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to consider all of these. He has to consider the previous cheshbon, the previous gilgul, the cheshbon of the father, the present situation, in order to bring about shlemut. In other words, every individual has to attain shlemut. Shlemut means completion. He has to arrive upstairs clean, and in order to arrive clean in shalem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to take care of everything in this world. So if a person, as we said before, if a person has a hashbon from before due to his father, and he's not shalem in his own deeds, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to find another way to deal with his maaseh. Okay, he goes on to explain in that this is why we have tzarot and atzlachot. So in the world you see failures and successes. Failures and successes. Some people succeed, some people fail. These tzarot, this pain and suffering, these failures, and these atzlachot are not incidental, they're not mikrim, they have to do with hashbonot. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu introduces all of these, and that is what we call ashgacha pratit. There are no mikrim. There's nothing incidental. Any time that there is a problem, it's tzara, an accident. Shalom, somebody has to take a child to the hospital. somebody spies from his job. It's sarot, right? Something happens to the house. Or atzlacha, win the lottery, or something else, you got a promotion. All of these are not mikrim. There is a hashbon. There is an ashgacha that said that these things should happen. Now, there is something called the mazal, a package deal that will give the person in the time he was born. But even that mazal is there for a reason. Why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give this man this mazal, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu give this person this mazal? The mazal is a package, and they're not going to be the same. Everybody's going to have a different kind of a package. So part of that heshbon is going to have to do with the previous good, right? Part is going to be a nisayon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to challenge it. Why is HaKadosh Baruch Hu challenging? Why is he testing him? Because that will be his way to get the tikkun, because most people are here in a gilgul, are recut, right? They're not neshamot hadashot. So how does a person fix what does a person need to do to accomplish, what does he need to accomplish in this world that he should not have to come back? What is his tikkun? HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends him a nisayon, and that nisayon is intended for him only, because that's what he needs to do to get his tikkun. So if he does it properly, he takes care of it, then he did it. If not. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to custom make a person's life, each one's life, in order for what? That the ultimate goal is tachlit shlemut. In other words, that he attains tikkun, his shlemut. So everything is for our good and for our benefit. So why complain? Everybody has according to what he needs. And this is all called hashgacha pratit in a sense. Hashgacha pratit does not only mean that HaKadosh Baruch Hu intercedes, intervenes to perform miracles. Hashgacha pratit means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu takes care of everybody. Not only his parnasah, but even before he's born, Hashem says, Tipazu matehe aleh, the Malach says when there's conception. What's going to be with this child? Chacham, Hesh, he's smart, bright, not so smart, right? Who's he going to marry? How long is he going to live? Will he be healthy or not? In other words, what kind of a mazal, what kind of a package are we going to give him? And part of that, in a sense, you can say the whole thing too, but especially part of it is going to be in nisayon for him, in order that he should achieve his tikkun. And that leads us to the famous question. So, if that's the case, that a good part of our life has to do with our tikkun, how do we know what it is? Now, why don't we let them know? Why don't they let us know? You know what a tikkun is? Why isn't there a way to clearly know what it is?
Plain word.
Yeah. So let me tell you, according to the Kabbalah, it's not so simple, but according to the Kabbalah, the reason why we don't know clearly is for two reasons. Reason number one, if we were to know what our tikkun is, everybody would concentrate on just doing that and leave everything else alone. Hashem wants the world to develop normally, and that people should get married, that people should build a home, and work, and contribute, fulfill all the mitzvot, not just one area. That is why He did not reveal to us the reward for the mitzvot. This one is more than this one. Otherwise, everybody would run after the ones that offer lots of zachar, not the reward, right? The First of all doesn't tell us the shachar of the mitzvot, doesn't tell us really what our tikkun is. But the Kabbalah also says that if a person were to know what is clearly, and he were to do it and complete it at the age of, let's say, 25, he would leave. Finish. Because you're finished, you have nothing else to do here.
He's accomplished what he had to.
Not necessarily, of course. The Kabbalah mentions that when a person has done his tikkun, there's no reason for him to stay behind. Right? So, I use it as an example of why in some ways Hashem would rather us not know clearly what it is, because then we would maybe leave this world before. Obviously sometimes Hashem wants us to stay behind because we already have a family, we have kids, and there's no reason for them to suffer, right? So most people don't leave before their time, even though they've done what they need to do. Unless they've reached maybe a certain age, a reasonable age, when, there's no need for them to stay anymore. But a lot of times people can stay longer so they can do more Torah mitzvot. However, even though we are not told, there's still a way that we can tell, and it's important that we be sensitive and pay attention to this, because it's somewhat clear. The tradition says that anybody that has an inclination to do a particular mitzvah, an inclination, the neshama is pulling him, drawing him in one direction to do a particular mitzvah, that it could be very much indicative, siman min hashamayim, that is what this neshama wants to do, because that's tikkun dependent on that mitzvah. Right? All of a sudden you see people, they do tremendous amount of chesed, go out of the way to do chesed, late at night, right? More than the average. You could never do something like that. You say, how could he do this? Why is he so crazy about this? It's not because it's in his nature, which might be part of it, It's because that's what the neshama is drawing him to do. And the same is true with a particular limud. We have to learn a little bit of Gemara, a little bit of Halacha, Chumash, a little bit of everything to become knowledgeable in Torah. But if one sees that there is one limud that draws him more, he loves Midrash, he loves Halacha, he loves Kabbalah, he just loves it more than anything else, that is where he should spend most of his time. That is a condition that he has already learned, and he has a foundation in Halacha, in Gemara, in Chumash. You can't leave those alone. A Jew needs to learn a little bit of everything. He needs to know halachot. You can't get away from that. He needs to know how to behave like a Jew, how to live a life, a Jewish life. But after learning, after having a foundation, if he sees he's being drawn to one area, and I've met people like that, they're drawn to halacha. Just look at the Rabbi Yosef. That's his big area. Not Kabbalah. Look at Rabbi Kaduri. You see halacha? I mean, I'm sure he learned halacha. He is in Kabbalah, right? You have different people. You have very few who are into more than one thing. Very few. It's like doctors today, the Chokhmat al-Lehabib. Chokhmat al-Refuah is so great, medicine, so big and so large, that you don't have somebody specializing in all areas. You have those who specialize in the kidneys, right? Those who specialize in ophthalmology. Those who specialize in ear, nose, and cardiology, the heart. Those who anesthesia. Bones, right? They know a little bit of everything, but they specialize in one area. So, our tradition is that if you feel drawn to a particular mitzvah, to a particular limud, that could be what the neshama came down before to learn to specialize in. That is what it did not do in the previous limud, that is what it needs to do. Now, it doesn't mean that that's the only thing it's here for. It could be more than one thing. But that is one thing that it needs to. Now, on the other hand, if one sees that he has a difficult time with a particular mitzvah, not limud, with a particular mitzvah, not learning, this one particular area is very difficult for him to fulfill. That could be his nisayon. That could be his challenge that Kabbalistic Baruch is testing him, and he has to be careful, because that could be the reason why he's here for. Now, what did we just see? We saw that when it comes to learning, it is always what you want to do that you should do. Why is it that with mitzvot, what you don't want to do and what is difficult to do, that's the one? Why shouldn't we say, no, you know what? Whatever is difficult for me to learn, that's what I should want to learn. That's my tikkun. Why don't we say across the board, everything should be the same. Whatever is difficult, that's what you're here for. I just said the opposite. I said whatever is easy for you, whatever you want to do when it comes to limud, learning, that's what you should do. And mitzvot too, you should do. But when it comes to certain mitzvot that are difficult, why are they also indicators that that is what you're here for? Did you understand? When it comes to learning, I did not say whatever is difficult for you, you should learn. Somebody has a hard time learning Gemara. No, that's what he should learn because it's difficult. No. The rabbis tell us, learn whatever you like, whatever you enjoy, whatever you're drawn for. In Averot, we hear just the opposite. Whatever is difficult for you, whatever Averah is difficult for you, whatever mitzvah is difficult for you to do, that's what you should do. Not necessarily the one that's easy. You follow? You see the difference? Learning. Okay. Why? What you like. Averah is whatever is difficult, that's what you should do. Why? The answer is when it comes to learning Torah, does the Yetzer Hara care what you learn? He doesn't want you to learn anything at all. Yeah, right. Right? So who's putting it into your mind to learn one over another? Only the neshama. The Yetzer Hara does not tell you know what? Learn Chumash, good for you. Or learn Kabbalah. The Yetzer Hara does not want you to learn absolutely nothing. So therefore, when you have a positive inclination to learn this over this, it means that the neshama is telling you, it's drawing you there. But when it comes to Averot, the Yetzer Hara doesn't get involved, the neshama doesn't get involved, the neshama doesn't want to do any of it. So when you find yourself in one area that is very, very difficult, so that's the Yetzer Hara holding you back, it doesn't want you to get to people. When we're talking about a limud, a good limud, mitzvah, the Yetzer Hara doesn't want you to do anything. Good. If you have a choice of one over the other, then the neshama is telling you because the Yetzer Hara told. But when it comes to Averot, things that are difficult for you, you have a hard time with it, that could be your challenge, that could be your personal custom-made nisayon. That Hashem wants you to overcome, and to control, and to be metaken, if necessary. What? So that's for everybody. Some people more than others. No? Yeah, sure. There's all sorts of situations. And a person has to know himself, where are his weak spots, and work with them. And whatever he likes to learn and do mitzvot, obviously he should concentrate and do those too. But that which is challenging for him, that could be the nisayon that he's here for. So that is how you know. If you pay attention and you're sensitive and you know yourself, and you admit it, you don't fool yourself, then you are able to determine more or less what are you doing here. At least what do you have to fix? There might be other reasons why we're here, reasons that we don't know. But at least part of the tikkun depends on the character that a person has been given, and the difficulty or ease that he has in performing certain mitzvot. Alright, he goes on to explain that in nisyonot, there are levels. Some very, very difficult, and some easy. Let's say, imagine, you are invited to this home, because you're in business, okay? It's late at night, and you're invited to this home. It's a business client of yours, out of town somewhere, away from home, late at night. It turns out that this client of yours that you've never met is a woman who's by herself in this house, and the house is locked, right? And she's good looking and young, and maybe single, and maybe dresses provocatively. Right? Anybody wants to suggest anything? Right, you're already there. She locked the door. Now this story, you know how many times this happened? This example that I gave you in true life happened many, many times. You could find this in the Gemara, in the Midrash. You find it to Rabbanim that 200 years ago there was a rabbi who was young, who was in a place like that, and she demanded of him openly, and she said she was even clean, and so he says, and he couldn't get away from her. So what do? He asked for permission to go to the bathroom, and he jumped out the window. Yeah, and he ran away. Sadiq, right? So this is a big challenge, right? Who? She?
She or he both secret. He's saying, look at that.
What do you mean?
He was single and he was single.
No, we're not talking about the severity of the avon. I'm not talking about the severity of the avon. Obviously, if she's eshet ish, it's mamash asur. Single, it's less. If it's a goya, it's very, very bad. Right? Obviously, there's different degrees of severity, but that's not the issue here. The issue is it's asur. So this nisayon is a big nisayon, the one I painted to you, right? Now, so 1 second. Now, let's say this is not in the house at night. Let's say it's in your hometown, a block away from your house, and it's somebody talking to you in the street. There's a nisayon, but it's not as big as the one who's already in the house. You follow me?
With the door locked.
With the door locked, right. Away from the house. Your wife is not looking, right? So, you see that there are different levels of nisyonot. All of these two are nisyonot. How do you react? That's a cup of coffee, maybe? Yeah, cup of coffee. What happens after the cup of coffee? What are your plans? Right?
You know, go to that in the snow now.
Right. How do you know about this? Anyway, so the nisyonot are big. At work, you work with goyim, go to lunch.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with this thing, right? Because you're putting yourself into the nisayon. Yeah, you're putting yourself into the nisayon, and the goyim don't have any manners about this. When it comes, no shame, right? So for a Jew, this is a tremendous nisayon. So you don't put yourself in the nisayon to begin with. You stay away. Right? You don't go in the lion's den. Right? You stay away. So there are different nisyonot and different levels of hardship, small, big. And what happens, depending on the hardship of the nisayon, according to the hardship, it will be the reward. According to how much a person suffers, to how much a person has to deal with, how difficult his nisayon is, his person nisayon, that is how much his reward will be.
The reward will be here and in Olam Haba.
Yeah. Certain things are given in this world, certain things are given in Olam Haba. Now, another example. A person who's rich, he has millions of dollars. That's a very big nisayon. The rabbis tell us, nisayon ha'osher yoter kasher min nisayon ha'oni. Richness, wealth, is much more difficult than poverty. A person who's rich I don't have any more time for you. No, not only the gava, they can't deal with it. People coming to the doors asking for money, they're too busy, right? It becomes a tremendous big nisayon. Now, let's say, another example. Let's say somebody works a whole day, works very, very hard to earn a living. And he works 10 hours a day. He works very hard, he barely makes it. But he brings parnasai, but he's tired at the end of the day. But he doesn't miss the minyan. He comes to the shiur Torah at night. Now take another person who only works 4 hours a day. He also comes to learn. Who will get more reward? The one that had it more difficult. Now, let's look at the other way around, the opposite. Let's say these two individuals did not come to learn, did not come to minyan. They will be judged. Who will be judged more severely? The one who only worked 4 hours, because they will understand upstairs, difficult, long hours, tired, they will consider that when they judge him. So the nisyonot, the personal nisyonot that everybody has, comes in different levels, and according to the level, according to the difficulty, not only is that how much you are rewarded, but that is also how they will judge you in case you do not do well. They will consider the difficulty that you had. They understand. This man was poor. This man struggled. Right? Now, a person comes upstairs and says, "What were you doing on Sunset Boulevard in the weekends? I was a beautiful man, and I was very attractive, he will say. And, I was just misled, and they wanted to make me a model. And I couldn't hold myself back. It was very tempting. They offered me lots of money. And you were not more beautiful than Yosef HaTzadik, they will tell him." And he was lured also. By who? By some director? No. By, what's her name? By the Eshet Potiphar of all people. And he was stood right? So each one who comes with the pretext, with an excuse upstairs, I was just too busy. I own so much proper innocence. You were not more rich and more busy than this rabbi, who had much more than you, and he went to Minyan and he learned Torah. I was poor. You were not poorer than Hillel. Right? And he went to learn Torah, even though if he had no money, he went and listened from the ceiling, from the roof. So each one who comes and says, "I couldn't do it," they will point to somebody who was in the exact same situation that could do it and did it very well. However, they will take everything in consideration. They still do. Bet Din Shel Mala, the Bet Din upstairs.
More like a tribunal.
Yeah, that's a tribunal. Okay, so a person is being judged according to his situation. Okay, so as we said before, therefore when things happen to people, they're not happening by accident. It all comes down to Yitzirat HaBoreh from upstairs, according to a particular hashbon, whether it's a nisayon, whether it's a previous gilgul, or it has something to do with his father. And there's an additional situation that we've talked about in the past, kaparat avonot. Has nothing to do with the nisayon, it's not a test, it has nothing to do with his previous gilgul. Simply, he did something wrong. I'll give you an example. I mean, there's many examples. Let's say somebody slapped somebody in the face. Okay? And this man, the one who slapped the other man in the face, is a good man. In other words, he goes to Minyan, learns Torah, does mitzvot, gives zakah. But he did a terrible thing, put the guy to shame. And even if it wasn't in public, he made the guy suffer. That is a terrible avon. And especially so if it's for a man of his stature, was a prominent member of the community, to do something like that, even though he got upset, it's still, they're going to exact from him something. They're going to demand something. So they're going to give, because he's such a good man and does everything else okay, they don't want him to come upstairs and have to suffer it then, they send him something here. So it could be that one day he's walking at night, he gets held up by two assailants, and they beat him up. And he starts wondering, what did I do to deserve that? Start thinking, maybe a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, something that you did. I'm not saying that he must have done that to get this. Yeah. I'm giving you a quick example of how some incidents are not necessarily nisyonot. What does this have to do with nisayon? It's not necessarily histikun from a previous gilgul, but it could be kaparat avonot. So kaparat avonot, which means the atonement of one's sins in this world, is also part of the hashgacha pratit. In other words, when Hashem mashgiach on each individual, he's not only taking care of his tachlit, that he gets his tikkun, and that he accomplished what he needs to accomplish because of what he did in his previous lifetime. Right? Not only does he challenge him so that he gets rewarded for what he does, but sometimes he sends him a kapara for what he did here. All of that is considered hashgacha pratit as well. Yeah. Yeah, that's part of the cheshbon. Right? Nothing happens by chance, right? It's a kapara. HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed it to happen. These are ancient. Right. These are ancient. So we have a tradition that anything that happens to somebody under the age of 13 is not responsible for his actions. The only answer, the only explanation is pretty simple. For children, that's the only explanation. There is none other, basically. There's no nisayon for them. There's no kafarat avanot because they're under bar mitzvah. That's basically the only fitful. And it has to be in that way. Exactly. That's why we're learning this. Okay? If a person learns this, he has a better understanding on why things happen the way they do. Okay, we have one more Ashgahat, all types of Ashgahat Prati, but this one more we're going to cover here. And that is when Kadosh Baruch Hu sends or brings down a situation, puts a person into a matzav only to awaken him. In other words, there's no previous cheshbon, there's no gilgul, there's no nisayon, there's no kafarat avanot yet. Rak le'orer oto. Don't you like? Only to awaken him. And I'll tell you a quick story. I told this years ago. There was once a Bachur Yeshiva who was good, who had good parents, learned in Yeshiva, but as you know, not everybody has, as we call it in Yiddish, Sitzfleisch. Sitzfleisch means not everybody has the ability to sit. You know, Sitzfleisch means the flesh for sitting. Like you have things on your back. He wanted to go to work. He wanted to start a business, he didn't want to stay in Yeshiva too much. And he left. And that's very dangerous for Bachur Yeshiva to leave the Yeshiva, certain environments, depending on who you mingle with, who your friends are. And little by little he drifted and went away from the Derech HaTorah Mitzvot. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. First you start putting on the Kelim, you know, minyan, then you don't make up Beracha, you take up Tikva, little by little till you drop Shabbat to Halidah. So anyway, he drifted. He went away from the Derech. His parents were very special parents, and they couldn't take it. Even though they had passed away, they were already Bashamai, it bothers them. It bothered them very much to see that their child is going off the Derech. It causes them pain. So they begged Borei Olam to do something about it. And this is what happened. One day he's sitting, eating lunch in his house, and all of a sudden he noticed as he sees that a book from the bookshelf fell. So what would most of us think? That the bookshelf, maybe the bookshelf is not solid, or the book was at the edge and it fell. So he went and he picked it up and put it back. He went back to eat his sandwich. 5 minutes later, the book fell down. Same book. He wasn't sure yet. It appeared to be the same book because it was in the same spot. So he puts it back. 5 minutes later, the exact same thing happened. The exact same book, even though he had already put it back inside, deep inside, it fell down again. Very, very strange. He decides to look at the book this time. What book is this? He sees the title is Sha'arei Teshuvah. As soon as he saw the title of the book, he began to cry. Because he realized not only was this a Siman Min HaShamayim, not only was that a Siman Min HaShamayim, he realized for a moment how far he has drifted. It just, like we say in English, it just hit him. Because when a person is working and working and working, he doesn't have time to think about where he's going. What am I living here for? What am I doing with myself? What's life all about? Right? You don't have to stop. You don't have time to stop and think. Stop for a moment in your life. You're going fast. You're running. Where? Stop. And that's what made him stop. He just realized, not only was that a Siman HaShamayim, how far he has drifted. How his parents must be in pain, knowing that he is the way he is. And those tears, of course, were shed out of sincerity. And as a result of that, he awoke, he came back. Now, let's analyze this a little bit. What happened over here? It's obviously that Kadosh Baruch Hu was intent in awakening him. That is why he sent him the Siman HaShamayim. The reason Hashem did so is because obviously this boy is probably good neshama and he has good parents. And his parents must have had tremendous zechuyot to ask for special treatment here. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't just wake up everybody. Only if there's a chance that man will wake up, or if the parents have some zechut. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what will wake up that individual more than anything else. He could have done something else to him. He could have sent him a rabbi, give him a drasha. Hashem knew. This is a sensitive soul. Yeshlu neshama regisha. Must speak if he's going to see that sefer come down 3 times, and he will look at the title Sha'arei Teshuvah. That will be enough for him. And you see, it was enough. That's le'orera. That's to awaken people. People are asleep. And from time to time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sends simanim. Now, why doesn't HaKadosh Baruch Hu send simanim to everybody? So he explains it in this sefer, that it all depends on how much of a rasha a person is. If a person has received simanim early on, and ignored them, and has become more and more a rasha, more wicked, HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets him do whatever he wants. I don't want to have anything to do with it. No more simanim. And he can still do teshuvah, but it's much more difficult. Why is it more difficult? Because there's no more simanim. There's no reminders. He has to do it on his own. Kadosh Baruch Hu sees that this neshama is skin. He didn't know any better. He had bad influence. He has good parents. He'll send him a good siman that hopefully will be sufficient to awaken him out of it. And that will help. In other words, Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to help those who have a better chance to listen and to come back. So of course, Kadosh Baruch Hu will help. But if after receiving siman after siman, you know how many people went through, there was I think one bus driver in Israel says that he got saved 3 times. He was three exposures to the bus. There were several people who have said, I've been in here, so I was about to tell him if I would be there. No, so what did you do about it? Don't you see that the HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about you? This cannot be a coincidence. These are simanim gluim. Clear and evident simanim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is protecting you. There's a saying in English, an angel, protected me. I had an angel watch over me or something like that. Yeah. People who have noticed the hand of Hashem. And, if you're sensitive and you look out for these things, you will see them.
And they've been in imminent danger, no way of getting out of it, and they're safe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That is the meaning of the pasuk, Ragrei Hasidav Yishmor. Those who are Hasidim, those who are close to Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kadosh Baruch Hu protects them and makes sure that they don't fall, and if they fell, Halila, he helps them come out of it. But if a person sees that he has tremendous amount of ikuvim, he has tremendous amount of obstacles and difficulties, coming back and doing teshuvah, coming back to do Torah and mitzvot, then it could be that he has drifted very, very far, and Kadosh Baruch Hu is making it difficult for him. It's not going to be easy. And he wants him to do it more on his own. So there's different levels of ashgacha, not of the ashgacha itself an individual, but how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu does through his ashgacha to let a person know of his situation.
Rabbi, what is transfer from what
Mishitrachek Yoter Midai is very, very far. He still can do teshuvah, but he has to do it on his own. It's much more difficult. Really is that. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't send him no simanim v'lo klum. No Scud missiles to waken him up. Right? No accidents. Yeah. But even nothing. Do it on your own. Stop for a moment and think to yourself. But otherwise, when the person...
But once he starts to do it, then you get the head.
Yes, of course. 100%. Once a person starts himself, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that is what the rabbis tell us. Whoever demonstrates a willingness to come back to be clean, they help him from heaven. They will show him the way. They will make sure he meets the right person, the right rabbi. Nothing is by coincidence. You happen to be in Honolulu for some business, right? Far away from Torah Halila. And all of a sudden you met this rabbi who happened to be there going to Hong Kong and made a stop there. This Isha, this meeting is not by a coincidence. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted it to be so, that he should say a word or two that bring back together. Sure. But not everybody gets it. Not everybody sees it that way, unfortunately, and they don't get it. But there's stories after stories of where one can see tremendous hashgacha Elyona in controlling all events in this world. Yeah.
No place like I don't know. I want to be a school. I walk. I said, alone here, Jewish, Then I see a little card on the window. This store closed at 3 o'clock on Friday.
Yeah.
So I went and I said to the guy, "You Jewish?" He said, "Yes." I said, "I want to see them." He said, "I'm the rabbi." He was the clock and diamond in a little store. And he said, "Well, we have only 10 people. But if you look for a little card, it closed at 3 o'clock." I said, "Why is it closed? But the Jewish?"
Yeah. Okay. Now, unfortunately, there comes a point that's called Milui HaSe'ah. Milui HaSe'ah, when Hashem sees that this person is becoming worse and worse and worse, But he can reach a point called Milui Hasea. Milui Hasea means that he's overfilled. So like the cup is overflowing. It's called Milui Hasea. This can happen to a nation. This can happen to an individual. When an individual has done a tremendous amount of that and has reached the point of Milui Hasea, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is removing from this world. Yeah. He has no more chances. That is when a nation is destroyed, or when a nation falls from its glory. That happens to Persia, it happened to Babylonia, it happened to Spain and Portugal. It happened to all these nations who were once glorious nations. They controlled half the globe. Whatever happened to them? All of a sudden, who? Where's the Egypt of once? Today they're all poor people. Right? Remember, Egypt was a tremendous power. Right? Genghis Khan. Right? All these tremendous powers. Whatever happened to them? There comes a point that the Baruch Hu just makes them fall. That is what you will see in the dream of Yaakov, where he sees Malachim Olim v'Yordim. Who are the Malachim Olim v'Yordim? Ilim Sarei Umot HaOlam. They are the ministers, the angels of the nations going up. What does that represent? That each of those nations will have a time that they will go up, and in the end, what does he see? He sees them coming down. They all have a time. This one stays 200 years, this one stays 400 years. All of a sudden, he sees one star going up and never coming down. They don't. He sees him going up, and higher and higher. He becomes afraid. That's Isa, Vedom. Continuously going up and not coming down. So Kadosh Baruch Hu tells him, don't worry, this one I'm going to bring down myself. The Karov, exactly. In the end, America also comes down. Britain comes down. Britain's already half down. Okay? So, everybody, whatever goes up, comes down. But it's not finished yet. Yeah. Okay, his question was, first angels come down, then they go up. Why are the first going up? Anybody know the answer? That's right. Because the angels, these were the angels from Eretz Israel. They were going up, and angels from Chutz La'aretz were coming down to Lavot et Yaakov. Right? There were שני סוגים של מלאכים פה. מלאכי ארץ ישראל שליוו את יעקב, that accompanied Yaakov. As soon as they came to the border, they went up. נכון? הם לא יוצאים לחוץ לארץ. Then ירדו אחרים ללוות יעקב הלאה בדרך. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah. For different reasons. They don't have the same tikkun as the Jew has, but they can be reincarnated for several reasons too. Similar rule, yeah. For example, the Zohar says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring back in reincarnation all the kings that oppressed the Jews. So we should seek their revenge. Because they were not necessarily avenged. They may have died peacefully, those kings. Hashem wants us to see the Nekama le'inenu, that we should witness Nekama. So he's going to bring back Nebuchadnezzar, reincarnated in somebody called Saddam Hussein. He's going to bring back Titus, reincarnated in some president of Europe or Germany or America or something, right? All of these who were once presidents will come back and be oppressors, but we will see the Nekama. That's part of the last stage of Mashiach. Nekama. Who knows? Yeah, the Motam Otiyot Kimat. Hebrew also Araf means to La'arof, to chop the head. That's what it is.
That was good there, didn't it? He lives Araf. And the multi-millionaire and he's in the game.
Yeah, right. Next. Okay. So we just finished saying that there is something called Milui Hasea, and once that point is reached, whether it's a country or whether it's an individual, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has to remove that individual from the world. That is the end. That no more kapara does not help anymore. Okay, the last point is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted every Jew to be zocheh, not only on his own merit, but through the merits of others. In other words, when one attaches himself to a big tzaddik in this world, while he's alive, he's able to share a little bit of what he got from that tzaddik in the Olam Haba as well. In Gan Eden. Yeah. And that is the meaning of Kol Yisrael Arevim Ze Lezeh. The meaning of that all Jews are connected, meaning that each one can help another. In other words, there is such a system in place that if one on his own did not achieve a lot, lo yispeak harbe, but he attached himself to a tzaddik, Right? Imagine another example of the Sachar and Zebulun, that partnership. Zebulun is busy in the ocean, business, but he supports Issachar to learn Torah. How does it work? You don't learn Torah and you can get credit for it? Yes, it works similar to when one makes a beracha and we are Yotzei Yedei Chova. We say Amen. In other words, how does this come about? To Kol Israel Arevim Zelazeh. As a result of our connection, we're able to do for each other. We're able to do for each other if one attaches himself to a tzaddik. Even though the tzaddik will, of course, be on a higher level, that person will also get some of that merit, will also be able to, in some situations, even be in the same machlaka, the same department of Gan Eden. There was one individual who begged the Chafetz Chaim that he should promise him that he should be in his spot in Gan Eden. And to make a story short, I don't remember all the details now, he told him a condition that he never speak Lashon Hara. Then you can be with me too. In other words, you have to have that, you have to have some zechut. Right? I can't just give you that promise. You have to earn it too. At least that. That is what you will have in common with me, because I worked so hard on that. Follow me? No, he's shown on his own too. But he definitely received something from Moshe. Okay, he speaks a little bit about Gilgulim here, but we've talked about it in general terms. What the purpose of reincarnation is. Reincarnation is a situation where Kadosh Baruch Hu gives an individual an additional opportunity to fix what he could not accomplish in the previous lifetime. And there are many forms of Gilgulim, and it's not possible for us to figure out why this one has this tikkun, why this one has that tikkun. It is said, don't quote me, but it is said that a lot of the children who are being born, for example, autistic, who cannot speak, who cannot function well, are all tzaddikim. Tzaddikim that learned Torah and prayed b'minyan and worked very, very hard to serve Hashem in the previous Gilgul. But because they had their Yetzirah and they fell in one particular area, they didn't want to come back in Gilgulim time after time. They asked the Kadosh Baruch Hu, please put us in a situation where we're not able to sin, so we can finish our tikkun. In this situation, they are not going to be able to sin. They can't talk, they can't say Lashon Hara. A blind person cannot see dreams. A deaf person cannot hear that thing. Right? A mute cannot. You're right. So in that situation, Shelon Edah Chalila, we shouldn't know something like that. But if a person is born like that, it could be that he is a tzaddik from before, and that's his only thing he has to complete. They don't live long enough. That's all. You don't see him coming to this world. Why does those parents have this kind of a child? They have their own firstborn. Why do they have to live through it? Why do they have to bother with doctors and bills and all that? Why do they have to go through this experience? But for the child, that's the cool. Maybe his last tikkun, because I think that's all he needs. So you see, we don't understand these things. But once we learn, sheyesh din v'yesh dayan v'yesh cheshbon v'yesh gilgul, that these things exist, and this is an opportunity to repair, that nothing is a mikre, nothing is a coincidence, nothing happens for nothing. Yesh cheshbon, yesh kaparat avonot, yesh tikkun, then we will be able to better understand why Hashem does certain things. The last point that I want to cover, towards the end of the perek here, is that sometimes Kadosh Baruch Hu takes a big tzaddik, and he is a kapara for the generation. The generation is so bad, they've done so many avonot, that the only way Kadosh Baruch Hu can deal with it, or at least one of the ways, is to take a tzaddik. Because if you were to punish the generation, oy vavoy. If you would punish the community, oy vavoy. It would be very, very bad. But sometimes there is a tzaddik who suffers, who bears the suffering of his people, and through his suffering, he is able to be mechaper his generation, he's able to be mechaper for his community, for his city. Sure, for all the Jewish nation. Yeah. Okay, so let's finish this last few words. We need to know Mikrim Akorim Libnei Adam. You basically have two types of incidents. One is Mikrim Taklitiyim. One is for a purpose. They have a goal. One is Emsaim. One is a means. And he explains what is Taklitiyim. Taklitiyim are situations that were decreed on a person intentionally. This should happen to him in order to achieve something. Whatever he needs to achieve, whether it's a tikkun, whether it's a previous yigul, but nigzar alav, it was decreed that he go through it. V'emsaim, and something is a means, it's not that he needs to achieve something through it. A means is mikrim shekru kedei sh'al-yadam yagia lo mikre acher shera'u lo. Sometimes something happens to a person not because that in itself is the goal, but that's only a means. For example, the pasuk says, "Odecha Hashem ki anafta bi." For example, Thank you, Kadosh Baruch Hu, that you showed me your anger. For example, Nishbera regel parato v'nafla. Your cows fell and broke her foot. As a result of her breaking the foot and helping her out, you saw in the ground a treasure. You see? So this mikre was not in itself a goal, a tikkun. It was through this mikre that you should be able to discover something else. Or through this mikre that you should be spared of something else. There was tremendous amount of traffic. You got a flat tire, but you missed the plane that crashed later. Right? All of these situations, a person who experiences them should remember that they're not mikrim. That what they all have in common, shegam ze l'tova. That is what the rabbis tell us. Shelolam yargil adam asmol atid, kol man David rachmana letav avid. Whatever Kadosh Baruch Hu does is for the good. And whenever something happens that we perceive it as to be bad, you should remember, shegam zu l'tova.